how do you replicate a castle that no longer exists? This was just one of the challenges facing Ubisoft's Quebec studio when they were finally tasked with bringing Assassin's Creed to feudal Japan. The setting has continually been one of the most requested, pretty much since the series' foundation. If you're going to do it, you need to do it right. To find out more, we spoke with art director Thierry Dansereau about how seasons will play out in-game, the team's work in crafting long-lost castles, and just how thrilled they were to finally face up to feudal Japan.
The Japan setting was an highly expected setting from fans, but also from the dev team as well. So when the setting was given to us by our HQ, so something that we were so excited because we wanted to work on that long-awaited setting. We knew that the expectations were high, but we are setting the expectation ourselves, I would say. So there's a lot of people within Ubisoft that just also contact us because they wanted to work on that title so bad. So it's something that we're really proud of. There's few of us, the lucky one, that were able to travel in Japan because that's a good point, actually. Each time we're making an AC game, history is the backbone of Assassin's Creed, and we're studying. So it's like going back to school, and because we have to learn about the country, the culture, to make sure that we have a good understanding before actually producing it. So we went in Japan, we did the field trip with experts. So experts were with us, so we visited, and they were explaining, what we were seeing, and we could ask questions as well. But we also teamed up with our Japanese studio in Osaka and Tokyo also to help us along the way. So it's been like a 4-year masterclass, I would say, about the Japanese culture for us.
And you're an expert now.
No, I wouldn't say that though. So there's so much to learn. So, it was focused on our needs and what we were making. But for Castle, we work with the most famous, renowned world expert for Japanese castle. So we had access, to his knowledge. And there's also some castles that are still existing, like think of the Imiji Castle in Japan, which is almost in its actual state as it was before because it didn't went to war because it was finished constructed at the beginning of the Edo period. So so that was a good reference for us in terms of how were they built inside, the type of rocks that they were used.
Following earthquakes, the Meiji Restoration, and World War II, few of Japan's Sengoku-era castles remain, but shadows will slide open the doors to key locations lost to time.
We centered our game around the center of Japan because there's so many iconic landmarks, but also because it was related to our story and main historical character, which is in this case Oda Nobunaga. So this is where most of his action were taking place. So this is why, and also for scale ratios, it was important for us to have something that's more credible, more credible in terms of size. But I have to say, if I had one location to pick, we're in the Azuki Momoyama time period, and there's one specific castle which is called the Azuki Castle, which was the Oda Nobunaga castle that was destroyed soon after his death. So it no longer exists, and now in the game, the castle is there, and we've built it in incredible way, following plans and all that stuff. So I think that's part of the strong fantasy that brand has, to make player able to visit location that no longer exists. The game being new gen only allowed us to push further, and really want also to introduce something new within the brand. This is why we push for the dynamic seasons and the multi-state entities, the introduction of RTGI also. So all of these new tech were available for now. So this is great. So the game really benefits from all the tech innovation that has been made in the last 4 years, I would say. The narrative story will have like historical moment linked to specific seasons, because we're trying to also to follow our narrative track. But when you're in the open world, more systemic, season will spawn over time, because there's tons of things involved, AI station, crowd life that are linked to the season, so that needs to be unloading. So it's after a certain amount of time, seasons are split in steps. Then if you fast travel, as soon as you load if you're at that moment in the step, you will be loaded in the new season. So you could go from spring, summer, autumn, and it's gonna cycle the whole way through.
With shifting seasons come changing weather patterns. This led Thierry's team to craft new and far more detailed effects and systems for the elements. Trees no longer shake in set animations. They respond instead to a complex wind simulation which rustles branches, flows through thick grass, and can lift leaves and debris from the woodland floor. These effects aren't deployed randomly either. Climate will depend on where you are in the world, with even the mountainous terrain playing its part.
The old weather system that I love because it transitions seamlessly. So what we did, we've create probability per provinces. So there's some provinces that will have more clear sky, other more like a rainstorm. So I think it's living in the world and seeing these systems like being triggered. That for me creates like a very good experience because it changed completely the mood. So I would say that the whole package is something to live and play it in because it's quite cool what we've managed to create in terms of weather stakes.
Under heavy rain, water will even run off rooftops between the traditional curved tiles. It's an attention to detail that the team has brought into other areas as well.
Yeah, but that was part of our goal to generate immersion. So because when you're in the game, you tap on something, nothing's happened, it feels like it's a 3D mesh that you cannot interact with. And we wanted to really fulfill that fantasy of those blades that are super sharp. So, and also it brings up the level of immersion. So being able to cut things, makes you have an impact on the world. People will react also. It's something for us that was important, and also in line with our dynamism that we wanted to push further. So it's all part of the full package, making sure that we have a world that fully immerses you in the experience. You saw the video and you could slice doors, especially that they're so thin. So
you said that was a difficulty point for like the lighting team.
But we have two rendering modes: a big global illumination and ray tracing global illumination. But that's really technical, but when we do big global illumination, we need the big GI volume box that we are placing inside our interior. And in the past game, we needed to have like wall with a minimal thickness in order to place those boxes, because otherwise it was generating like GI leaks and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So this time around, our walls aren't like that, so we had to revisit the way we were doing those GI volumes to make sure that we didn't see any visual bugs created because of that.
These are technical details, but important ones to the fantasy of light and shadow Ubisoft is trying to convey. Manipulating the visibility of your surroundings is crucial in setting up for assassinations. The light-porous nature of Japan's sliding doors isn't just for looks. Those iconic silhouettes make it possible to identify guard patrol paths, plan attacks through them, or even just take some particularly stylish screenshots as you close in on your prey and prepare to strike unseen.
Yes. Okay, yeah, when we saw this, we had to make the most out of it. So being able to assassinate through walls was now possible. So we had to make sure that you could see shadows in these walls.
This confluence of environmental upgrades and additions means that, putting the core gameplay and narrative to the side, thanks to Thierry and his team, we're excited just to explore the scenery of Assassin's Creed Shadows when it launches this November. For more insight ahead of its release, head to restart.run.